Hi everyone. Welcome to our webinar. I'm Thais and I would like to remind you everyone that this session is being recorded and all of you who are here will receive the recording in the next few days. I always ask all of you to remain in mute mode, and if you have any doubts, questions can be asked via the Q&A field and will be answered at the end of the webinar. In the webinar today, we will talk about avoid unviability due to expiration or revocation of digital certifications, reduce operation costs, and how to manage and operate certificates, centralize and automate the managing of certifications, and how to be compliant with security regulations and policies. And for all that, today we have our cybersecurity expert, Davi Muniz. Hi, Davi. Good morning and welcome.
Hey Thais, how are you doing today?
I'm fine, and you? How are you? Good morning.
I'm also fine. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where everybody is located at.
So, Davi, now I will leave it to you. Have a wonderful webinar.
Okay, so let's get started with our webinar today. So as Thais was saying, our topic today will be certificate management, stopping worrying about it. So without further ado, let's start our session. This is the agenda that we'll see today. First, we'll take a look at the digital transformation process and also the implication that it has for businesses. Then we'll see the concepts related to automation and the state of machine identity. We also cover the importance of digital certificate lifecycle management. Then we will introduce Senha Segura certificate management. We will also talk about how it works and the benefits and results that organizations get when they implement a solution like ours. And finally, I will give you a hands-on of the tool to show the flow and show exactly how it works. Okay, so we get started now, talking about digital transformation. I guess this is probably a topic that, if not all, most of you have heard about. So if we stop to think about how the internet and also computer systems have changed the way that we communicate and how we perform daily tasks, well, and especially now with the pandemic, that has changed a lot. And every day, people send and receive dozens and hundreds sometimes of emails, documents. They access bank accounts, they pay their bills, they buy things over the internet. Talking about myself, I'm kind of old school in this kind of things. But after the pandemic, I also start to go grocery online. So I have to put my credit card information. I have data that is transferred by through those systems. So with this in mind, it is impossible to relate IT aspects that are not somehow associated with this digital transformation process. Some of those aspects include the explosion of IoT devices, Industry 4.0, which is also called Industrial IoT, cloud initiatives, DevOps. Well, those are some of the hottest IT topics in the moment. One consequence that we had on this digital transformation process is the growing number of connected devices in the environment and the expansion of those initiatives, Internet of Things, Industry 4.0, smart things that can be smart cities, smart homes, smart appliances. Well, they have introduced billions of connected devices To give us an idea of the number of those connected devices, according to Cisco, there were more than 20 billion connected devices last year, and the forecast is that this number will reach 29 billion by the end of next year, which means that the number of those devices will increase 45% compared to last year. And to communicate and to transfer data in a secure way, those devices, they use what we call machine identity. Well, the name says that, well, identities, they are related to machines. Those identities can be service accounts or even digital certificates. Well, still talking about connected devices, well, I'd like to bring the evolution of those computer systems and how they have evolved. Well, 20 years ago, those mechanisms, they were basically based on an on-premises architecture that involves, for example, admin accounts, network assets, servers, hypervisors, and those applications, they had few users. However, they had many privileges. Sometimes they even have segregation of duties. The admin accounts, they had all the privileges to perform actions in those devices. However, 10 years from now, this has evolved to identity on the cloud and also virtual environments. AWS, GCP, Azure, those are some examples of those environments. And most recently, there was the introduction of IoT and also DevOps environments, including cameras, sensors, and also new development approaches such as DevOps. In those initiatives, there are plenty of identities, many APIs to connect and to integrate those systems. However, the segregation of duties in those credentials is higher than before. So we have many APIs, many credentials, and fewer privileges to users. And of course, well, we already know that the number of those connected devices is growing significantly. And since those devices use machine identity, the number of those identities is also expected to grow significantly in those initiatives: DevOps, secrets management, cloud access, digital certificate management. To give us an idea on the increased number of those machine identities, Gartner estimates that the number of credentials has grown approximately 40% in the last 3 years. And still talking about cloud environments, the adoption of this kind of environment, well, is now even more intensified with more people working remotely, not only from home, but also working from coffee shops, from you name it, any kind of environment that is outside of the perimeter in the organizations. So in these environments, machines, virtual machines, they are created, they are configured, and they are destroyed dynamically in order to meet the new business requirements that this new era demands. Other technologies that are associated with machine identities, we can name it the RPA, which stands for Robotic Process Automation, Privileged Task Automation. So these new approaches generate an impressive gain on productivity and also consider and also improves efficiency. At the same time, organizations need to take the measures to protect those identities, to ensuring security and integrity of those technologies. Well, the result is that we have more digital certificates in the environments. And many technologies and their respective devices that we have introduced use those digital certificates. Those can be, for example, X4, 509, SSL, TLS. Those digital certificates, the purpose of them is to establish trust in these digital environments. And besides that, digital certificates allow identification, authentication, and authorization of users, machines, in order to protect the infrastructure against malicious agents. Well, considering all this context, what should information security leaders do? Well, they need first to implement the proper means to protect those devices against malicious agents, and using digital certificates is an effective mean to ensure authorization and authentication of devices in the infrastructure. So if you could tell me, what is the state of digital certificates in your organization? I encourage you to use the chat box to send your questions, but tell me a little bit more on how is the state of digital certificates in your environments. Do you use them a lot? Do you use them? Do you don't use them a lot at all? And how do you manage those certificates? Tell me, I want to know. This number of digital certificates have introduced a new attack surface. So the proper management of digital certificates is becoming a challenge for information security teams. And in this aspect, the spreadsheets that people used before to manage digital certificates, well, and those activities are related to the control of the amount of those digital certificates, where they are located, the expiration dates of those certificates. Well, those spreadsheets, depending on the environment, they're no longer feasible. And besides that, the changes that have been introduced by the COVID-19 pandemic, they made companies accelerate their digitalization, which left their infrastructure more exposed to an increased number of cyber attacks. Well, and nowadays we know that cybersecurity risks are increasingly associated with business risks. So, to protect the environment in the organization, uh, and ensure data protection, we can pass through these three pillars. The first one is to secure and update network perimeter defenses along endpoints that access the networks, such as computers, mobile phones. And now, with the pandemic, everyone is using bring your own device, so the security policies are less strict. So, security leaders must ensure that those endpoints are properly protected. The second aspect that I'd like to bring here is the backup and secure of business data for recovery in case of a cyber attacks or system failure. And especially now, I think this is an important aspect because that involves ransomware, for example, and damage caused by this kind of malware. And if organizations don't implement a proper backup and do not secure these data, well, this affects considerably business continuity. And well, there are some reports that say that people that have been affected, 60%, especially small and medium businesses that are affected by cyber attacks, they close their businesses within 6 months of the cyber attacks. And the last but not least advice for cybersecurity leaders is to train employees to recognize and also avoid cyber threats like phishing attacks, malwares. Uh, Cyber criminals are increasingly using social engineering to perform these attacks. So uh, prepare and train those employees to detect if an email is a phishing, or if a call is coming from where it's supposed to be. It is quite important to prevent those cyber attacks. And I usually say that it's useless to implement the state of the art in cybersecurity solutions if your employees are not properly trained to use and also to detect anomalies in your environment. Well, to make it simple, I'd like to define here what digital certificates are. By definition, digital certificates are considered electronic documents that associate the identity of not only people but also organizations, devices, and applications, ensuring that someone is or a machine or an entity is what they say they are. Those digital certificates, they are also commonly used to protect web servers, IoT devices, services, including DevOps environments. And lots of organizations are adopting DevOps and to ensure that this does not affect their operations. It is important to ensure the implementation of DevSecOps. There has also been an increase of personal certificates to user perform activities. That can be, for example, government applications. Some governments, well, at least here in Brazil, people can use digital certificates to fill their tax returns, and it is increasingly being used by organizations to ensure the identification of people. The same way that there is a combination of username and password, biometrics, for example, MFA, digital certificates are a kind of credential that allows persons, organizations, or devices to exchange data securely over the internet. And as other type of credentials, digital certificates are also critical, especially because it allows to establish trust in these digital environments. Without certificates, it would not be possible to ensure that, for example, senhasegura.com is the website of Senha Segura, or even if this site is a trusted one. And this level of trust is established to allow us to use those critical services, internet banking, government sites, e-commerces, receive medical prescription from the doctor. Well, these services, they have multiplied, especially during the pandemic, that people had a physical limitation to go outside, to go to a to bank, to go to to a government session or organization. Now let's see how this digital certificate communication flow works. Well, first of all, it all starts with the client that connects to a target servers through a SSL or TLS connection. Then the target device sends its public key to the client that was generated using a private key. The next step occurs when the client verifies if the public key was in fact signed by that private key. And in this case, if the certificate is not in compliance, let's say that it is expired, that is not valid, then the communication between the client and the server fails. Now, the server decrypts the key and also sends the encrypted content with the key of the client. The client then decrypts the content and completes the SSL TLS handshake. So in this case, trust is established between the client and the target server, and the communication between them is established. Now, let's take a look at the main challenges that are associated with digital certificates. Well, the exponential increase of devices and technologies in the environment, we have already seen that it has exploded. And that means that managing digital certificates properly has become a difficult task for information security teams. So the spreadsheets that we used to have to control the amount, the location, the expiration dates, well, they're not feasible anymore. So we need to implement a new way to manage digital certificates. Some risks that are associated with the improper management of digital certificates include decentralized certificates spread out in the environment. which prevents IT administrators to have the proper visibility of the certificates installed in the environment. And that increases, for example, the risk of downtime because of certificate expiration, for example. And I usually say that is impossible to protect what is not managed, and it is impossible to manage what is not known. So to have a complete overview of your digital certificates, you have to know where they are and the expiration date, and have a centralized views. Some other aspects that are associated with this management of digital certificates are certificates with no owners, certificates that are expired, unknown certificates that is an attack vector that can be explored by malicious attackers to perform their activities. Another challenge is the time spent on certificate management. How long do you take in your organization to manage your digital certificates? How long do you take to update the spreadsheets, to share them with other users? So this can be quite challenging depending on the number of digital certificates that you have in your environment. We can also have human errors. So a user can forget, for example, to renew a digital certificate. There can be also data breaches that can affect the private key of a digital certificate. And I brought this case here to show how the private key of an NVIDIA code signing certificate was among the mountain of files that have been stolen and also leaked online by criminals who ransacked the GPU's giant's internal systems. And in this case, at least two binaries that were not developed by NVIDIA, but signed with this stolen key, making that appear to be NVIDIA programs, have appeared in malware sample database. Another challenge that we have here is reputational risks. Imagine that in your website during, let's say, a Black Friday or Christmas, that you have an expired digital certificates, and your customers try to access your e-commerce and try and receive a message that there's a problem with the security certificates. Are the users willing to give out their credit card information, their personal information on a website that has a problem with their what was supposed to give them security, to give the user security? Well, I don't think so, at least not in my case, and hopefully not in yours. The next one is system downtime, which refers to the last slide as well. So your clients try to access your website, and then if they're down, they'll probably run to your competitors. Also, the certificate authority can be compromised, and this is an interesting fact that obliged Symantec to sell their digital certificate business to DigiCert, especially because of the sanctions that Google had because of this incident. Symantec had to close their businesses, or at least sell the operation to another company. And what are the results that all of those aspects brings? Well, less revenue, because if your site or your operation are not running, then it can affect your revenue. Reputation as well from your partners, from your customers, and from your suppliers, and also trust. So if those responsible for the certificates in the organization forgets to renew or revoke just one digital certificate on a device or server, it is possible to affect the whole operation of a company, and this affects their critical operation and consequently business continuity. Well, I'd like to bring here some interesting facts about digital certificates. The first one is that Gartner estimates that by the end of this year, organizations that leverage certificate management tools, they will suffer 90% fewer certificate related issues than the ones that do not use. And besides that, they will spend half the time managing those issues compared to with organizations that use, for example, spreadsheet-based management methods. Another interesting fact is that, according to Gartner, security leaders that successfully reposition certificate management to a compelling business story, that can be, for example, digital businesses and trust enablement, they will increase the program's success by 60%. And the time that this research was released, this Gartner research was released, that was approximately 10%. And finally, the global losses associated with the improper machine identity that reaches currently $72 billion. Dollars. And still, according to Gartner, security leaders are often unaware of the scope or state of their certificate deployments until there's a downtime or data breaches caused by the improper digital certificate management. And besides this, as certificate scope expand to devices, containers, and also IoT, they will also need to use automated certificate management to avert system outage and also to gain operational efficiency. Okay, and then we have a lot of information here. So what should I do then? Well, the first advice here is to use lifecycle management or discovery centric tools to audit the number of deployed certificates and also to identify the potential risks from expiry and overall certificate compliance. The second advice that I'd like to bring here is to choose a full lifecycle certificate management solution to drive intelligent automation when dealing with large, complex, multi-vendor certificate environments, and especially dealing with multiple certificate-based enterprise use cases, such as mobile, IoT, for example. And the last advice, but not least, is the ensure that certificate operation and management practices are aligned with the overall cybersecurity incident response plan, if you have one. If you don't have one, it's another good advice to prepare and to develop one. Well, Gartner has an interesting report about digital certificate called Technology Insight for X509 Certificate Management. So, in this report, Gartner defines certificate management tools are solutions that are used to discover, identify, track, notify, and also automatically renew and audit the installation of X509 certificates. And this kind of tool, they help organization with critical insight and also provides automation and management capabilities when dealing with digital certificates. If TLS integration in this case is a fundamental of part of your business strategy and a competitive advantage in your market, consider a certificate manager vendor that can deliver a full solution, which means that this tool will allow you and your organization to automatize and also manage the entire certificate lifecycle in order to meet those business requirements that we've said before. So, and how Senha Segura Certificate Manager works? Well, the solution is seamlessly integrated with the Senha Segura security platform. And Senha Segura Certificate Manager allows the centralized management of all life cycle of digital certificates in the organization. And Senha Segura can automatically discover digital certificates on sites, directories, and web servers. And it is important to mention that our discovery capabilities have been considered best in class by Gartner in its 2021 Magic Quadrant report. Senha Segura Certificate Manager also allows the automatic renew of those digital certificates, and that can be done via external or internal CAs, including self-signed certificates. And the impact that it brings to organization is the reduction of downtime, increased efficiency, and also increased security. Now, let's take a look at the main features that are offered by Senha Segura Certificate Manager. Well, the first one is the automated and recurrent discovery of certificates in the environment. So the certificates that are found through our scan discovery feature can be read and evaluated. And Senha Segura also allows the graphic view of any risky situation in the environment. Senha Segura Certificate Management Manager supports all kinds of certificates, keys, also algorithms, and also formats. So the tool allows administrators to use pre-registered organization, which reduces the risk of errors when publishing certificates, and also provide full control of due dates of managed certificates. The tool integrates with the main CAs in the market, including those self-signed. Reporting and dashboard capabilities offered by Senha Segura allows the graphic view of status of certificates, like for example, which ones use encryption that are non-compliant with the information security policies in the organization. Senha Segura also allows, for instance, the sending of automatic certificate alerts, and that those alerts can be sent through email or even CIEN syslog. So you can integrate Senha Segura certificate management with your Splunk, for example, to send those alerts. And the alerts can be sent in customized periods of time for specific people in your security teams. And this allows administrators to have a full control over due dates of certificates that are managed by Senha Segura Certificate Manager. Well, the features that are offered by Senha Segura Certificate Management allow full control of the lifecycle of digital certificates. And the tool also allow automatic certificate renew and publish. The result that it brings to organizations is the reduced operational time that is spent for managing certificates in the environment. Senha Segura also allows to automatically configure periodic requisition, renew, signature, and also publishing. And that prevents administrators to miss a due date and also reduce operational risks. Senha Segura also offers flexible multi-level approval workflow that allows total governance and adherence to security policies. And this is completely aligned with the life cycle of the digital certificates. So the after, the before, sorry. So the provisioning and the publishing of those digital certificates. During, that is when the administrator manages those digital certificates, and also when they need to either renew or expire those digital certificates. Another feature that is brought by Senha Segura Digital Certificate Manager is the segregation of duties. And the access granularity that is offered by Senha Segura has been considered by Forrester in its Wave for PIM report among the best in the PAN market. Now that we have seen all the features that are offered by Senha Segura Certificate Manager, let's take a look at the benefits and results that it brings for organizations. Well, Senha Segura Certificate Manager allows reducing downtime that can be caused by certificate expiration or human error during publishing. And besides this, Senha Segura automates the digital certificate lifecycle manager. The APIs and Senha Segura integrates with other tools through secure APIs. They allow the complete integration with other solutions in the organization. Senha Segura can integrate, for example, with ITSM and let's say validate a ticket or create a ticket in the ITSM solution to automate and to seamlessly integrate with those tools. This results on increased level of security for application with secure digital certificates, and all of this in compliance with security requirements and also information security policies in the organizations. So this means that when implementing the adequate processes to proper uh, manage those certificates, Senha Segura brings full visibility of all certificates in the infrastructure, which allows administrators to identify the most critical to business and ensure that those digital certificates are secure, active, and also valid. The differentials that are offered by Senha Segura Certificate Manager includes the full integration with the Senha Segura PAN platform. So that saves a lot of deployment time. And it is important to say that Senha Segura has the fastest deployment time. I've seen cases where the tool has been deployed in less than 3 hours, especially because it is delivered in a virtual machine format. So it's just a plug and play all-in-one security platform. Senha Segura has intuitive interface and also the fastest deployment in the market. And if you take a look at Gartner Peer Insights, we have lots of reviews of our solutions with users praising our interface, user experience, which leads to less training and operational costs. And also, Senha Segura allows lower operational costs and increased and lower time to value as well. So, that being said, well, are you going to keep worrying about digital certificate management in your environment, or just leave it to Senha Segura to so you can keep your eyes and keep focus on on other important aspects of cybersecurity in your organizations? I think there's a good question to be made here. Well, that finishes my presentation, but the webinar is not over. I will, as promised, I will give you a hands-on the tool. So this this is Senha Segura Certificate Manager, and this is the dashboard that it offers. I'm not going on detail on that right now. First, I will show how other features work. So first of all, we have the discovery of digital certificates. So in here, I can configure how those certificates will be. Oops, got a timeout. Let's log in again. So this is the home. So here I can view all the discoveries that have been configured in my in the tool. So here I can see how many devices have been found, how many certificates have been found. So I can come here. Click on new. So I select device. So I can name it the discovery. This discovery webinar. Let's see. So I can configure an access credential. So this credential can be used for the discovery. Here I can select where I will search, and then I can select certificates. And here I can configure which certificates are going to be used, are going to be discovered. Then I can just save it. So here I can see the discovery when it is completed. So I can here view what has been found, and I can view this discovery status and import those digital certificates to my server. I can view the log, and I see everything that has been that has occurred. I can view details. There's a lot of information, lots of details that are shown through the tool. So whenever those those digital certificates are discovered and onboarded in the tool, I can have a centralized view of those digital certificates. The next step, if I go over the certificate management module, is to create a request. So that's the first step when managing digital certificates. So in this case, I can either import a request or create a new request. So I select here the certificate type, sorry. The organization, so I have to register the organization prior to use them. Select a common name. I can select tags, webinar. Let's see, test. I'll select the encryption algorithm. Encryption key size. And finally, the certificate signing algorithm. So whenever I do that, I can save the request. There you go. So I have created a new request. Then someone will approve this request and also generate the digital certificate. So this is the next step. So I come here, request signature. So I can give a reason. So here I can select if the certificate is self-signed or not. Justification, demo for the webinar. External web application. Here I can select a ticket Let's say, for instance, this one. Then I click on save. So after I do that, I will come request approved. So in this case, the certificate automatically approves. The access group is configured to just have a justification and not exactly an approval from someone. And the next step is to publish the digital certificate. So let's see on this case. I can view the certificate that has been generated. And I can take actions like publish the certificate, link devices, renew certificate. So I will publish this certificate in a server that is managed by Senha Segura. So external. I can also select the ticket here. Select the publishing plugin. So let's say, for example, that I want to publish on an Apache server. Then here I select the server that the certificate will be installed, and then I click on Add. I can either even schedule the publishing, and then I hit on Save. Okay. So the last um, the last step that I'd like to bring here is um, the dashboard, and this is really cool because this is not only offered by certificate management but also by Senha Segura PAM. So in this case, we have an exclusive certificate dashboard. So I click here, dashboard, certificates. Oops, sorry. Sorry, guys. So here I have a centralized view of all digital certificates in BioMinds. How many certificates, how many are active, how many are inactive, how are unsecure. So we have lots of dashboards here, lots of graphics. How many certificates are going to expire by types of system, by origin, by CA. So we have lots of dashboards here to give you a centralized overview. Some clients here, they even use this screen in their SOC room. Another aspect that is really interesting at Senha Segura is our risk radar. So this is a graphic overview of the state of certificate in your environment, and also you can have a security classification and also view how many certificates are going to expire. Okay. So with that, I conclude my demonstration, and I also finish my presentation, and I hand over to you, Thais. Let me stop my screen and start my camera. So do you have any question? Do we have any questions from the audience? Let me hear the comments that our audience has.
Yes, we do have, Davi. First of all, thank you very much. It's extremely interesting to see how our pen solution works. And it's about that we had some questions here. The first one is how many approval levels are offered by our tool?
Well, Senha Segura offers three levels for in its multi-level approval workflow. So we can have three different managers approving the request, and it is possible to configure that a request is declined if just one declines or if two declines. So this helps the tool to be really adherent and very specific to the information security policies in the organizations. So let's say that you have two managers or one manager and a coordinator. So Senha Segura allows exactly this kind of workflows to be configured in the environment.
Oh, that's awesome, Davi. Thanks. And we have another one here. Uh, how many? So I think they write it down. How much the Senha Segura can integrate us? I think it's something like that. How much menus Senha Segura can integrate?
The question I think is related to CAs. Well, Senha Segura integrates with certificate authorities. Well, we have a native integration with Global Sign. So this is an out-of-the-box integration with them, and it is possible also to integrate with Microsoft, Let's Encrypt, Komodo, DigiCert, GoDaddy. So Senha Segura, and of course, Senha Segura also integrates with self-signed digital certificates, as we have seen during the demo. So Senha Segura integrates with a handful of certificate authorities.
Thank you very much, Davi. We do have a few more questions, but unfortunately, we are running out of time. And don't worry, because all your questions will be answered by Davi, and you will receive it by your email. Okay, guys? Davi, once again, I would like to thank you for the amazing content, and I would like to thank all of you for your presence and time here. For us here in Senha Segura, it's always great to know how many people and companies are concerned about cybersecurity and how to do this kind of work safer for everyone. Do you have anything more to add, David?
Oh, I'm fine, Thais. I think we can finish the presentation now. I thank everyone for the opportunity to talk more about digital certificates. We know that managing them can be quite challenging for organizations, but as we said, we're here to ensure and to secure your company so you can worry about other things in your businesses.
Yeah. And I do like to remind every one of you that we have a YouTube channel with tons of content. You can always sign us and see our social medias and our blog at senhasegura.com. We have tons of content, and I'm sure something that your company needs will be there waiting for you to read it. Once again, thank you everyone. Thank you for your time. Davi, bye bye. See you next webinar, guys.
Bye bye. Keep safe, everyone.